Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, The Matrix Resurrections. I just got done watching it. And while initially I was confused, I do have some thoughts that actually might make people go, what the fuck? But first, I do want to take the time to say a few things before my stream. First, to Odin or to OMB Reviews, formerly Odin's movie blog. I did get my Terminator 2 4K, so it did arrive. Thank you for that. To all of my subscribers, specifically Ashina Skywalker, or my friend Dakota, rather, Riot Kitty, and Mongo Big Thanks. A big shout out to both of them and to my friend Dakota. They helped they binged my playlists to help get my content up to 2,000 hours, my watch time to 2,000 hours. And I have also reached 800 subscribers. I am extremely thankful to all those who helped promote my channel. All of us younger channels, all of us smaller channels, we do got to stick together. And I am very thankful for all of you who have helped. So now, without any further ado, also, hello to Captain Trek. I see you in the chat. Thank you for stopping in. Matrix Resurrections. At first, a lot of people are saying that this movie sucks. The movie is unnecessary. That I agree with. I agree that this movie is incredibly unnecessary. However, is it really unnecessary, though? Got to think about this, folks. You see, we've been waiting for a movie that calls out what is going on today. We've been waiting for a movie that basically shuts down the overt wokeness. Now, yes, a lot of people are probably saying, oh, look at the SJW haircuts, blue hair, yada, yada, and are triggered. Well, here's the thing. For those of you who have seen this and drawn those conclusions, have you ever seen the original Matrix trilogy? I hate to break it to you, but there's a lot of freaking exotic, in lack of a better term, looks in those movies. Now, for the Wachowski siblings, Lana and whatnot, saying, oh, it's really a thing about transgenderism. Honestly, I don't say it. I mean, you can say whatever the fuck you want. To me, this movie did have some woke elements. Full honesty, it did have a couple of woke elements. But for the first 30 minutes of this movie where I was confused as shit, and then a friend of mine said, look closer to it. Listen to what they are doing. And I did. And I'm like, okay, they actually called themselves out. The people making this movie called out Warner Brothers, literally by name, and said, we're going to force you to make this shit even though nobody asked for it. And they're right. Nobody did ask for a Matrix 4. I didn't. A lot of other people didn't. And while, yes, they do have some themes of wokeness in it, they also have a lot of anti-woke in it. This new version of the Matrix is basically built on feelings, and that is how they control you. Well, holy shit, say the loud part or say the quiet part out loud. Don't just say it out loud. Scream it to the top of your fucking lungs. I'm glad they made this movie. I actually subjectively like this movie. At first, I thought it was stupid, and yes, there are a couple things that are weird. The whole synth whatchamacallit, Synthience or whatever. This movie was a train wreck, an unwanted train wreck. Are you sure? Yes, there's parts of it that doesn't make sense, Ambassador, and it is very good to see you. However, this movie said the quiet part out loud and also made it the villain. We're controlling people by feelings. People want to be controlled. People are so easy to manipulate. You just tell them what they want to hear. Allow them to think what they want to think, and they will be your slaves. Essentially, is what Neil Patrick Harris's analyst is doing and saying. He's saying the quiet part of real life society out loud, and in their haste to make a movie that was supposedly full-blown woke, actually turned into a movie that is like, we are trying to tell you that this is the world that you're actually fucking living in, because a lot of you are not waking up to the reality that the world is kind of screwed up. That was the whole idea of the Matrix anyway. Noticing that there just was something that could have been missing, something that is possibly missed, doesn't feel right. And lo and behold, they have, or you realize, holy crap, the real world, or there is a real world, and this is the sugar-coated topping. It very much does capture the essence of the Matrix. Now, is this movie a train wreck, as Ambassadorial Wing says? Absolutely. It is a train wreck. But as subjectively, I thought that it was actually very good. And from what I gleaned of it, they slammed, or they said the quiet part out loud, and then they beat the shit out of it. Now, yes, hold on. I thought the movie was a little woke, but to me, my big problem is it needed another rewrite, and I think the Matrix franchise needs sort of a new vision if they want it to continue. They don't need to continue. As far as I'm concerned, there are 3 Matrix movies that work, plus the Animatrix, and then there's this unnecessary sequel that does sort of work, but only to push an actual narrative of this is what the world is. It's full of a bunch of idiots that are focused on feelings and not facts. This is actually mentioned in the movie. These people are focused on feelings. That's what makes them so easy to control and manipulate their reality. They want to feel. They don't care about the facts. We've made it so that they will accept anything we put in front of them. Does that sound familiar, folks? If it does, well, yeah. It's happening in real life. So I got to commend the Wachowskis. Or Lana or whatever. Whatever they choose to be called nowadays. They used to be the Wachowski brothers. Now it's just Lana Wachowski doing her fabulous thing. Thing is, congratulations, you fucking played yourself. You literally described what's going on in the real world about our government. You tried or some people are trying to say it's very anti-government, yada yada, it's very anti-Trumpism and capitalism and stuff. Yeah, there's a couple of that shit mentioned. But what it really is, if you beat it down to its brass text, is this movie is an actually anti-Biden film. Is an current establishment film. And I think that's fucking hilarious. You then also have, now, getting all that out of the way, the story itself is fucking shit. Changing his looks, making it look like a different person, but also having it as Neo. Now, they really shouldn't have tried to revive Neo. This movie, like I said, from a Matrix standpoint, it is unnecessary. But what this movie does do is that they do a good job in saying or is that they do a good job for an agenda film. This is an agenda film, but it's not the agenda that a lot of people are claiming it to be. Yes, there are woke elements, but this is mostly a conservative sided story, basically saying that the problem is that everybody, or that the problem with humanity, the easiest thing about, or the dumbest thing, or the greatest thing about humanity is that they're so easy to control when you focus on their feelings and not on facts. Yeah, except that that's why people are accepting the program. Well, it just goes to show you that they're making fun of humanity. They're basically saying that all of us, well, not all of us, but 99.9% of us are dumb enough to believe what's in our front of our eyes because it makes us feel good. Sorry, I prefer to live in the real world. That's just me. But Armor say I think they Wachowski should be producers the next one, because I would not mind if they adapted some of the comic books into the movies. I have no idea. But as a Matrix film goes, I have a few theories here and there. Changing his code was actually a brilliant idea. But how are they still alive? How did they actually activate or revive Neo? Now they actually show him dead, and they show the look of him and whatnot, and they're getting revived. But how does Trinity get her? How does Trinity become one half of the one, so to speak? I dislike the villain. I have a nickname for him, the Anal List, because the villain isn't cool or intimidating, just anal. I don't even see it as woke or anti-woke. It's just poorly conceived and written. You're damn right it is. But this person does, but he calls it out for what it is. Zombie X Slayer 614, welcome to the channel. They've already confirmed that there is no Matrix 5. There is no next one. And that is good, because they should keep it, or they should. This one will eventually fade into obscurity because it is so bad. But for the most part, I love how it is a positive agenda film. How they basically said that this is, or the Matrix, this sixth version of the Matrix is basically an SJW version of the Matrix, where people are focusing on feelings and not facts. Well, and that is why people are getting unplugged. And that is why people want to free their minds to get them out of that kind of reality, because the fact of the matter is, well, facts matter. But back to the story. Here's how I think Trinity got her powers. Unbeknownst to her, when Neo saved her, when he phased in her body to get the bullet out, a part of his code disseminated into her. Essentially, his code kind of broke off a tiny bit into her, allowing her to have some of his powers, and that's why he doesn't have those powers. She's able to fly, he's able to deflect bullets and whatnot. So it does slightly, possibly, in the realm of very possible, make sense. Everybody's saying, well, they just wanted to give Trinity, or make Trinity the one. Well, here's the thing. She's not the one. She's half of the one. And the movie's not good. Objectively, this movie is about a freaking 4. Moviegoer, I'd put her around an 8. Subjective, I would actually put it around an 8 as well, because I actually did think it was pretty good. A couple of moments here and there. I like how they reincorporated Sati from the Matrix. I believe it was Resurrection or Revolutions. I thought that it was interesting that they reincorporated her, and I believe it was the same actress as well. After all these years, So yeah, that was interesting. Now the whole Synthians, where we don't call them machines. They're fucking machines. Morpheus somehow being a coded reference or whatever, and Agent Smith somehow being a coded thingy, where those were just poorly written. I mean, seriously, they were just shit written. They even show the callbacks. Each time there's a callback, they show a freaking different or what inspired that part of it. But for the most part, when I saw Morpheus in the Matrix, I'm like, how the fuck what the fuck is going on? Then they say that 60 years later, okay, so he died. But then again, Morpheus is still around, just in a different body. But he also can't be completely freed from the Matrix because he's a program. That's fucking weird. But I also do understand why Lawrence Fishburne wasn't asked to come back, because his character would be dead at this time. And Niobe and her infinite pessimism. Yeah, exactly. Neo went inside of him and broke some of his code off into Agent Smith. Mountains of Elysium, good to see you. And fellow nerds, can't stay, but plus I haven't seen it yet, but wanted to drop by and give the stream a like. Thank you so much. And it seems we got another in this case, an actual fucking Russian bot. So I'm gonna block that user. I just very indifferent about it. I'm literally right in the middle. Like, I give it a 3 out of 5. That's a 6 out of 10. So yeah, that's a failure. But yes, this movie has its merits, but also has its problems, its faults. The story is completely shit written, but in some ways it does make sense. I want to know what happened to the architect. You know, that guy that Neo talked to in Revolutions? Or no, not Revolutions, but Reloaded. Yeah, what happened to him? And what happened in this purge that they did? Why'd they get rid of the Oracle? The Oracle was to help soothe human minds so that if they ever did get freed and whatnot, it was an intuitive program, but also meant to be a form of manipulation in a way too, except that it eventually turned. Then they brought in exiles like the Merovingian, and I believe that was the actual actor too, which was pretty freaking cool. He's like, we had conversations, we had books, we had movies, and now we have these fucking shitty video games. Yes, thank you, Merv. We had and he's like, he was basically saying, yes, the last Matrix the last version of the Matrix was great. It showed that, or it had the sophistication of life of where people mostly accepted real life. But now it's all fucking video games, feelings, and other drivel. Unfortunately, they think that, and we have another bot. Block user. Yeah, I could do this all day, bots. I assume that he was one of the mini programs purged by the analyst along with the Oracle. No, the architect was the one who designed the Matrix. Now, maybe he was put aside by this analyst, played by Neil Patrick Harris. I think that he played an SJW fairly well because he fucking played an asshole. And I'm completely sick of SJWism. But I love it when it is used for negative effect, meaning I love when it is seen as the enemy in a movie, because it is the enemy. Social justice warriorism is the enemy of free thought. And I absolutely love that. It's like, the whole rainbow skies kind of thing. Kind of remind them of what a free mind can do, you know? The rainbow sky part could have been something totally different. But the reminding them of what free minds can do, that is a good message. Free thinking, learning that you can control your own destiny. That's a good message. This movie shouldn't have been, or should have been called Matrix Reconnected instead of generic title of Resurrection. Well, the thing is, Resurrection's not really generic. It's actually quite literal because they actually brought two characters back from the dead. Somehow plugged them back into the Matrix. I mean, I love that he actually says that. Keanu Reeves actually calls them out for it. Well, either I had a psychotic break again, or I am part of a computer program that a machine world has imprisoned me in again. And it's like, holy crap, he actually called this out. He actually called it out. It's fucking great. Now, yes, objectively, this movie is about a 4. It sucks. There are some very poor writing, poor story in it. I mean, cross-plugging like they do. Oh, we don't even need phone or payphones anymore. Well, they just needed a hard line to get out because, well, that's what the whole thing was. Internet never got beyond hardline back during the Matrix back then. But they did push the boundaries of this new Matrix being weird and how, or now it's bots, it's not agents. And I'm like, I like the idea of agents. They evolved it too much is what they, or is the main problem that they did. But they showed that it was a piece of Matrix that they didn't, or it was a version of the Matrix that they didn't like. Now, what they should have done was collapse this version and reinstitute the old Matrix, where people were eventually leaving and there was peace reinstated. However, the whole thing is they didn't want, or they didn't do that. So that's where it becomes a very bad bad writing moment. They still have the shitty version that they're doing. It's like, we can do whatever, or what you guys, or go for it and whatnot. Well, here's the thing. When the one finally started realizing his potential in the previous Matrixes, they were frustrated by failure because that one kept on freeing minds, convinced or showing people that life, or that the real world is not the Matrix. The Matrix wasn't real. I do know The Matrix 1 is in Jackie Chan's top 5 favorite movies of all time. That's cool. Also, if Betty White has indeed died today, rest in peace, Betty White, because I'm hearing a lot of conflicting reports. One is it's a hoax. 2 is it actually is real. She did die. I'm hoping it's a hoax, but also if she passed on, at least the Golden Girls are reunited again. But yes, for The Matrix Resurrections, the scores objective 4 out of 10. This movie is a poorly written movie. It had some shitty acting in it. This new guy that is basically the body of Smith is just shit. The different character. Apparently, either Niobe had a very close friend or a bosom buddy that actually is more than a close friend. And it's like, didn't you get together with Morpheus? I could have sworn you two were a thing at the end of Matrix Revolutions, because you basically dumped the other guy for Morpheus, got back together with him. But hey, what do I know? Niobe becoming a pessimistic piece of shit was weird. Io being a city where, and Zion falling to anarchy and us or them, that was a woke moment that it's like, oh, it's the whole us or them, huh? The previous way was the wrong way. Well, nobody even had that, I believe, or they showed that peace was possible. I'm so sorry, bro. It's not a hoax. Okay, so she is dead. So, well, then, I do hope that Betty, wherever you are, it is better. You are out of pain. You lived a wonderful life. You truly lived, you were loved by many. So, yes, Betty White, rest in peace. But yes, getting back to the Matrix Resurrections, there were elements in it that were completely just dumb as fuck. Damn, she did not make it to be 100. Yep, just weeks, or just literally 2 weeks and change. But you know what? She lived one hell of a life. And she is missed. But yes, also I did, or for those of you just joining in, I reached my end of the year goal. I am above 2,000 hours currently. I rechecked before the stream started. I'm at 2013. And I hit 800 subs. I'm currently at 801. And I do want to thank, again, Riot Kitty, Mongo's Big Thanks, and my friend Dakota for binging my content, the playlists and stuff to get my hours up. They jumped, or in 1 month, they jumped up 300 hours. And I am always going to be supportive and thankful and humbled by the support that I have received. So yes, Riot Kitty, Mongo, thank you very much. My friend Dakota, thank you very much. And to all of you who has also watched my content, if you have binged my content, but for some reason didn't decide to share that you were going to do it, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you for helping get my hours up. Jeff B, thank you, and Happy New Year's to you. I will not be staying up to watch the ball. To me, New Year's is just another day. I mean, was hoping that 2021 would have been better, but we all know what happened, so it didn't. But I do hope that 2022 will be better. And it looks like it may. It's a 50-50 coin toss, folks, at this point. 50-50 coin toss. But anyway, yeah, Matrix Resurrections, objectively, it is shit. Subjectively, I did enjoy it for the most part, but there are parts that were kind of stupid. And moviegoer, hey, it's entertaining, but also not so much, so I give it an 8 in moviegoer. This movie is unnecessary. It was unnecessary. It didn't need to be done, but in so doing an unnecessary film, they inadvertently created a movie that called out, or that said the quiet part out loud and demonized it. And I am thankful for that, at least. However, it still does fall into agenda-based film, so yes, it does get 2 points off automatically in my subjective. I said, folks, and I am going to always remain consistent. You do not put any agenda in a film unless it is the pure point of it. Now, if it is the pure point of Matrix Resurrections that people are incredibly stupid and they are focusing on feelings over facts, and that is a problem, well, then maybe then I will rescind my score. But until I hear a confirmation on that, it's an agenda-based film. And I do not like any agenda that is either pro my stance or my views or against my views. I don't like any agenda in film. It is time that Hollywood realizes that. This movie is on course to lose over 200 million in the box office, I do believe, or under 200 million. So over 100 million. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Matrix Resurrections. I thought it was a decent movie for the most part, but however, I thought that it was unnecessary as well, in that while there are some interesting moments, people are mistaking some of it for wokeism, but they're also not willing to deep dive down the rabbit hole in order to look at what might possibly be an answer to reasons like why Trinity is suddenly one half of the one, you know? But anyway, folks, that is going to be this stream. Thank you all so much for the support. My 2022 goal is going to be 1,000 subs and at least 3,000 hours. So if you guys can all help me with that, I know we can reach that goal. Happy New Year's, folks. Rest in peace, Betty White. Thank you, Riot, Mongo, and Dakota. Odin, thank you for the T2 Steel Box. Everybody, have a wonderful New Year's. This has been Orange Hat Reviews, closing out the new year or the old year. Always remember, stay humble, folks.